Hello and welcome to this video, which is about planet Saturn, which is currently at 29 degrees of Pisces, completing an entire cycle. Now, on the 25th of May 2025, Saturn will move into the sign of Aries and begin a whole new cycle of the zodiac wheel. Now, today is the 17th of May, and this morning I wrote a piece that was big and that felt like it wanted to be shared. And I don't often do this, but I am going to read it. I feel that it wants to be spoken as well as shared in the written form. So yeah, I don't normally speak a piece because I'm going to be reading out from what I have written. However, I really feel to at this time. I know that a lot of people are saying that they don't feel good or that a lot is coming up for them. And this is a closing of a cycle. I want to say before I read this that I have written from the perspective of, through my lived experience, from the perspective of a person who has recovered from and survived sexual abuse, financial abuse, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, parent alienation. And all of those things have taken a long time to understand and to work through on the multiple levels that they come through and permeate your being. So I can't not write from that perspective, but I'm also speaking and writing through the perspective of the astrologer, because as an astrologer, I operate both in time and outside of time, witnessing the divine in others and others through the lens of their charts. So I am able to witness and understand and work with, as my professional thing that I do, planetary energies and their degree position and how they manifest through the life through human beings. So I feel that it's important to say that before I begin. Okay, so get yourself comfy, have a cup of tea, maybe a pen and paper, or just listen. And in advance, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Saturn is all about time and what comes to bear over the passage of time. At this time, when Saturn is at 29 degrees of Pisces, before it moves into the sign of Aries and begins a whole new cycle and era on the 25th of May, there are many things that could be coming up for people. Saturn is the planet of karma, timing, patience, and the kind of wisdom that arrives through patiently and consistently learning life's lessons. You cannot rush your own true path when it comes to Saturn. Saturn rules our command of resources, be that time, energy, material resources, planning, and the rewards that come from rightful hard work. And by that I mean actions that support the collective good and that come from the heart and soul and from the true life purpose. Opposite and equal to this is when the efforts in life have been invested in wrongful action. There will be karmic consequences of that too. You could call it God's economy or universal law. It just is. Of course, what comes up for you personally at this time will be entirely down to your own journey, your own lived experience, the lessons and challenges you have personally faced in life, and what you have made of what has been handed to you. In your natal chart, this could be shown in whether you have any personal planets that are at or near 29 degrees or in tight aspect to this degree. And just let me make it clear, everybody is experiencing this this karmic position at this time. But if you have personal planets there as well, at or near or tightly aspecting, it will be doubly magnified, as though you've got a double mission in life, which I will go on to explain. So I personally know a lot of people who have personal planets at the anaretic degree, 29 degrees of Pisces, or that exist strongly in tight aspect, such as 29 degrees of the mutable signs, the other mutable signs, which is Virgo, Gemini or Sagittarius. In fact, that is a huge proportion of my client base. The mutable signs complete cycles in their own way according to the nature of the element that they are harnessing. So it won't come as a surprise to you that you're hearing the words now, or if you choose to read it, you will be reading the words of a person who has a planet at 29 of Gemini, and for me that's Jupiter. So air is the thinking realm, Gemini is communication. So here to usher away old cycles through the written word and the spoken word that has been thought about. That's me. Whereas Pisces calls for emotional release, deep, deep emotional release. When we possess personal planets at the very final degree of the zodiac, it's not for the faint of heart. The challenge is here for people who are awakened is to see and feel at such depth that you are consciously closing collective cycles of karma for humanity through your lived experience. Almost like you are a living, breathing conduit for ushering out an old era and all of the paradigm structures, beliefs, and painful energies of humanity's suffering that go with it. What you heal and claim for yourself, you also do for others. I want to remind you that awakening to a new era on Earth, or whatever you choose to call what we're doing here, is a huge undertaking for us all, and undoubtedly we're all in it together as a collective human body, whatever your current set point, awareness and intentions are. Collectively, we are allowing to die off all that will not serve the collective moving forward. And then I made a correction and said all that cannot and will not serve the collective moving forward. So by that I mean attitudes to Mother Earth, attitudes towards women, attitudes towards feminine energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy, anything that harms, distorts the truth, love, freedom, joy and abundance. All the old energies that are horrific, damaging and do nothing but perpetuate hatred, destruction and separation. Those are rising up too, to be seen and to be allowed to die off. We must effect the change from within our own selves, creating strong boundaries to protect all that is holy and sacred and feminine as we travel along our path. The old energies exist within us and around us, and until we have faced the patriarchy within ourselves and work to clear it out on an ongoing basis, we will struggle to help humanity move forward. What we can offer is what we already know to be true, that we have worked through for ourselves, and that will differ human to human. We can't do it all as one person, but we can offer what we have already cleared by claiming ourselves as strong and powerful and sovereign, as a powerful force of nature. The negative energies of Saturn are epitomised by all that is wrong with patriarchy. And I'm sure you'll know that patriarchy exists in women as well as men. It exists in our thinking, in emotion, in patterns of behaviour, in leadership, in organisations, in cultures, in structures, in systems, in nations, in industries. I'm sure the list is longer than that. The negative energies of Saturn are epitomised by patriarchy. The whole lot will have to be rooted out and dismantled. We cannot go halfway. Mother Earth and her inhabitants who know this are already begging at the precipice of obliteration for a return to love, to wholeness, to integration, to acceptance, sustenance, rightful planning, and rightful action that creates sustainability through deep honouring of the mother. Rightful, strong fathering, leadership as a father, stewardship of this land, protection of women and children is equally important as the deep sacred love of the mother. Only in balance can we move forward. All the women who have lived the story of having their womanhood and motherhood raped into oblivion rather than honoured, respected and revered are carrying the seeds to bring us back into balance in all the places where there has been no love. The ones who have survived cultural annihilation, racism, colonisation, slavery, rape, all forms of abuse, these people who are carrying within their hearts and bodies the seeds of what needs planting for a new, better life on earth. The rooting out takes deep inner work down to every aspect of the minutiae of our lives, of our relationships, of our intimate relationships and relationship with ourselves. Every time you have not been fully seen, heard and met in relationship, all the hurts you carry from that, equally all the times you have failed to see, hear and meet another in their here and now moment of their lived experience. These are the brave, raw, vulnerable moments that matter. Claiming these are the times when you change your life around, when you own what is within your own self and seek to change that. All the times you've learnt to love yourself back to wholeness so that you may love another and co-create together, whether that's in a romantic relationship or within supportive communities. This deeper knowing and wisdom may return to you now profoundly and light you up with a new joy, with a new hope of all that you are here to create. The old energies must be allowed to die within each one of us in order to bring through the birthing of a new era. Deaths are often painful, whether we are letting go of a cherished loved one or going through an ego death. Goodbyes always involve grief, and grief is so intimately tied with love. Anyone who has truly survived multiple ego deaths will know how it hurts to battle against yourself, only to find that the darkness you so hated and judged existed within your own self all along. It is the absolute worst to witness yourself as the patriarchy, to witness yourself as the control you'd been railing against. Those self-imposed judgments, the expectations you had of yourself that you didn't live up to, the shame, the guilt trips you sent yourself on, all of the self-imposed criticism. Every time you looked in the mirror and saw someone unworthy, unlovable, ugly looking back at you. Every time you hated your own voice, your own heart, your own words, your own failure, your own ineptitude. When you meet that person truthfully and choose to love them, that's when you become the change that you wanted to see in the world. Your own system must be flushed out, and the deepest love and compassion given to your own self, to soothe and befriend yourself, to love your own inner child, to bring her within, to create in this world from the innocent heart of your innocent child, the one so close to source, the one who skips and revels in true innocence and joy, the one who knows herself as the laughter, the fun, the sprightly joy, because you choose to be her, despite everything that life has thrown at you. To know yourself as the great mother, to create in this world from the deepest love of a mother who is tending her child, cradling the whole world as though you were suckling your own baby close to your breast, caring on the deepest levels with a mother's loving, protective energy. When you become the one who can trust her intuition every single time, the one who would move heaven and earth for her offspring, that's when you embody the love of the great mother. That's when you are ready to seed the new birth of the new earth. And now on to something more difficult. What if it's too late for some? 29 degrees of Pisces also falls under the veils of illusion and delusion. Some people who are carrying personal planets or angles at the final degrees of Pisces may feel so at sea at this time and struggle with life to such an extent that they feel they cannot and will not in this lifetime choose to awaken and feel at any level of truth and depth at all. When dark personality traits have taken over and escalated to the point of personality disorders, then there is such a strong dark cloud that any piercing of the veils is made impossible. For various reasons, it may be too late in this life for some to be able to seek meaningful help for the lies, the torment, the chaos, the multiple health issues, the walls, the illusions, the unresolved traumas. Saturn shows that there are karmic consequences of deeply entrenched negative behaviours. Some at this time may feel in torment because on some level their soul is communicating with them, that it feels too late to climb down from all of the manipulations, the machinations, the lies, the coercion, the corruption, the nonsense, the betrayal, the delusional thinking, the malice, the conscripting of others into false stories, the projections, the violence, the narcissism, the psychopathy, all of that which has come from within them and being unleashed on others. If the ego has been fully at the helm of that individual's life during this whole Saturn cycle that began in the late 1990s, then the ego death may feel as though it's an actual physical death taking place. Some may be feeling that their death is imminent because that sense of not being able to carry on like this will feel so strong. Perhaps their soul is realising that they have nothing good within them that is worth seeding in this new era for humanity. What if all your creations had been born from unhealed trauma, separation, hatred, falseness, ego? What if you'd only ever tripped off profiting from the patriarchy and run amok with unchecked narcissism? What then? What now? It may not be possible for some to see or recognise that they need help, nor that they are worthy of help, nor where to start, even if they felt worthy to call in that help. Many may silently wonder how they will climb out of this pit of nothingness, out of the blackness. Indeed, following the months of rape in my own life, I wondered how to climb out of that pit, out of that particular rock bottom. Some at this time will begin to hit a new type of rock bottom, one that they themselves have plunged others into. For some people, grandiosity, delusion, hatred, false superiority and projection will be all they know in this life because of the actions they chose to take. Bereft of the ability to connect with the truth of the vulnerability of their own heart, They may feel trapped and confused, stuck in a whirlwind of horror, blinded by their own untruths. Never having activated true courage, they now find themselves caged, trapped, too weak to break free of what they themselves had attempted to cause upon others. Their soul, fractured and fragmented, the ones they victimized, finally healed. Perhaps for some, the damage has been too great. Saturn ensures that those who created multiple attempts at annihilation upon others will face the consequences. And if this is the case, then the best we can hope is that they run out of energy for causing destruction completely. That the parasitic energies and dark entities that have run amok and used them up now recognise that there is no energy left to be harnessed, and so they leave. The host finds themselves destitute, bereft of all morals, spent and used. The best we can hope for now is that their soul will be able to heal following the end of this mortal life, all that they could not bring through to conscious awareness in this physical incarnation. Planet Saturn does not mess about. Karma is real. There are consequences to actions on this earth plane, always. And though they may not be apparent in a timescale that makes sense to the human mind, those consequences will play out someday in some way. We all learn in our own time that we are a divine creation operating under the law of free will, and how we use our free will on this earth really matters. Thank you for hearing this long piece as we collectively experience Saturn at the final degree of Pisces. If you feel compelled to respond, whether that is in the comments or by email to me personally, I am your comments are welcome. I am happy to hear from you, and I want to say thank you for listening to this. I send out my love to all survivors and to all of those who are struggling at this time. All of those who are struggling at this time. Thank you for hearing me.